Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back another video from Mother's Basement. Today we are checking out the fake incest harem for cowards. So I think this is going to be about that harem anime that I think was in the ones to watch video that he did, and he's probably going to talk about how it doesn't go. I don't know, because I've not watched it myself, but I'm just guessing off the premise and how Geoff is that, like, and it's saying for cowards that maybe this doesn't commit to the premise as much as he wanted. I, I don't know, let's get into it.
I love trashy anime.
Who doesn't?
Let me say that again for the
God.
person in the back, because I don't just
Kill a
like it.
girl!
I love it. I am a firm believer that anime's capacity to explore the weird, horny,
Oh my God.
shameless
Oh my
side
God.
of the human condition is one of its best and most important features. When artists are free to indulge in taboo fantasies and let their ids run wild, it throws wide the windows to their souls and produces some of the most compellingly human, personal stories our species has ever told.
Hell yes.
So when I tell you I hate the Shiunji family children, that's not coming from some prude tut-tutting about how it goes too far. Reiji Miyajima's smash hit all-sister harem thing doesn't go nearly too far enough. It is the work of a coward, of a man who understands that other men will pay good money for a love hina type thing where most of the girls call protag kun oni-chan, but has zero interest in actually exploring that idea or doing anything with it that might upset anyone. Hence why the inciting incident to the plot is their billionaire dad telling them they're all adopted and then immediately leaving on a never-ending series of business trips to let them sort that out for themselves. Which,
Like, what do you think's gonna happen? It's such a stupid idea, isn't it? Like, let's let him go. Let's let him talk. Because you'd think, oh, okay, we're all just gonna like bang now then, but okay, maybe not.
which is still obviously like really wrong and stuff, but not in a way anyone would go to jail over. In other words, it's exactly what you'd expect from the man who gave us the sexless sex worker harem and incest harem with pretty much no incest. Asterisk. We'll put a pin in that for later. And the harem side is no better. It is some of the laziest, most paint-by-numbers crap I've ever seen, and I have seen a lot of harem anime. Most of them not very
That's
good.
terrible.
It does still make it better than Rent-A-Girlfriend, basically by default, at least in terms of, storytelling fundamentals, characters that don't actively make you want to punch your television screen. But
Rent-A-Girlfriend is so bad. Like, it is... so bad.
There is a growing part of me that might actually hate Shiunji family more.
Whoa.
I know, that is a molten take.
Calm down.
I will get to defending it in just one sec. Harem comedies don't get nearly enough respect. They're frequently written off as nothing but an endless ocean of goon slop, but they're one of the foundational genres of anime.
They are, and they can be good. I think the very first one I ever watched would be Tenchi Muyo. Can we count that as a harem anime? I think it's a harem anime. I loved watching that as a kid, and that was like the first thing, and I see similarities between other shows. Yes, they're not all great, but you do get some good ones.
Just as much potential to produce peak as mecha, magical girls, or isekai. There are many different paths to that peak, but all of them in some way leverage the genre's power as a vehicle for characters and relationships. Not many genres let a cast this large get to know each other this intimately, and when you add to that the dynamic of a family at risk of being torn apart by temptation and taboo, you've got plenty of fuel for any halfway decent writer with even the slightest interest in other human beings to pen at least a few fire bars. Unfortunately, this is Reiji we're talking about.
Arata walks in on CA undressing for a shower. Okay. Thanks, girl.
In your typical romantic comedy, the protagonist merely overreacts to underscore the absurdity of the situation, as well as to play up the sexual tension between the two.
The problem, broadly, with the Shiunji family children is that they are not, in any meaningful way, written as a family. There is little feeling that their personalities influenced each other growing up.
Ah, okay. So it's kind of ignore the whole family dynamic and just throw it in there straight away without any kind of relationship being built up beforehand.
Any of their relationships go any deeper than
Right.
your run-of-the-mill childhood friend, or that any of their relationships really matter to them besides the one that the show's about. They are a pile of default factory-setting harem tropes that happen to grow up in the same house together and have a habit of walking to school together in a big group that all of their
Right.
classmates can point at and go, hey, look, it's the Iெcest family. They are so rich and famous and also
hot.
popular, and I wish that I was one of those two brothers, not for any of those reasons, but because the sisters are so hot, and I wish that I was in the house with them all the time. Don't you, friend A? Yes, I do, friend B, and this is a very normal conversation to be having on our way to school in direct earshot of the people that we're talking about. Where was I again? Right, tropes.
Oh, just hilarious.
Twin tails tsundere, cheerful type sporty girl, stoic type nerdy girl, shy type emoto, gentle type ara ara one-chan, and protag kun's buddy who has a girlfriend and gives him advice, but it's mostly useless and he barely gets any screen time.
No.
Of course, in theory, with a good enough protag kun, you could still pull all those very generic characters together into something entertaining, but I just told you this is Reiji we're talking about. Pay attention.
Come on, that's my sister.
CA's butt is all up in Art's face playing Twister. Okay.
He has been for the last 16 years. Even so, I'm a teenage boy. How can I not react?
Pardon.
CA's butt is devouring the camera.
Credit where it's due. Arata Shiunji is infinitely preferable to Kazuya, but then so's a colonoscopy. He enjoys working out and spending time with his sisters. Dislikes include people who are mean to his sisters and things that make his sisters sad. His main
Oh.
goal in life is to be a good older brother. His skills and interests don't really matter because he's going to go to business school and inherit his billionaire dad's empire so as to support all of his sisters in their dreams. His hobbies include working out, and does having sisters count as a hobby? He's a cipher, an archetype.
Not much
Arata
going
is
on.
The stepbro. Every aspect of his existence has been meticulously engineered to stepsisters. It's what he does. It's what he is. Or rather, what he will become once he finally quiets the pesky voice in the back of his head saying, hey man, maybe don't your sister, which
Yeah,
is, when you
maybe
really
don't.
boil it down, the entire conflict driving this story. Society quite frowns on siblings fornicating versus, but I wanna. It tries to dress that up as a deeper exploration of the line between familial and romantic love, but it's not. It's a
But I
show about
wanna.
games of Twister in the family rec room going a little wild, though nowhere near as wild as, say, My Little Sister Can't Possibly Be This Cute, which manages to be about that and complicated lines between familial and romantic love and otaku culture all at the same time.
Oh, yay.
What I'm saying is, Shiunji Family Children is nowhere near as deep as My Little Sister Can't Possibly Be This Cute. Just
Huh.
let that sink in.
Okay.
Ah, right, that reminds me. Their billionaire dad is Elon Musk. Like, canonically, in the manga, just a few chapters after the end of the first season, it's revealed that Kaname Shiunji has purchased Twitter and that he, too, is the kind of dipshit who would throw out one of the most recognized brands on Earth and replace it with a single letter. Although, instead of an X, in a fun little Easter egg, he named it after
Okay.
the real Elon's favorite drug. Or maybe the K stands for Kaname. Not that any of this has any direct impact on the plot yet, but I do think it says something about Reiji Miyajima, a man who has publicly stated on Italian YouTube that he almost never bases characters on real people, that he could look at Elon in 2023 specifically and say, yes, that right there is the admirable father figure my manga needs. After the Chappelle incident, after he bitched out of fighting Mark Zuckerberg, after he tried to buy sex with that horse, that is, using the horse as currency to obtain sex with a stewardess. To be clear, he did not try to fuck a horse. The fact that I
Anyway, let's, anyway.
have to clarify that, though. As for the rest of the Shiunji family, boy, you sure can tell Reiji didn't base any of them on real human beings. There is absolutely zero specificity to any of their quirks or interests. The nerdy one likes books. Not any specific book, just books. The sporty girl is, of course, into the girliest sport, tennis, which also, he picked it because of the uniforms. And speaking of the uniforms...
I mean, there is that. But how dare you? I used to play tennis, and I'm as manly as they come.
The motherly older sister type wants to be a pediatric nurse. Meanwhile, the younger sister character literally doesn't have anything going on outside of brother fucking, and low-key, neither does the Twin Tails tsundere. The random gossipy background characters may be all like, ah yeah, she's gonna be the student council president one day, but none of her storylines so far are actually about any kind of student
like
council
that at all.
shit.
Not
It's
leading
just,
in that direction
you know,
whatsoever.
The tsundere runs away because she can't face her feelings. Basic bitch harem episode. If you asked ChatGPT to write an incest harem anime, Arata would probably be a little less jacked, and there's only like a 20% chance the wildcard character would be a stoic nerd. But other than that, this is exactly what it would spit out. And as spontaneous fan service generating wildcards go, I mean, honestly, I must scientifically confirm that I don't want to f my brother isn't the worst gimmick in the world, but it sure does get old fast when it's all she has going on, and that's basically the only real deviation from the standard harem formula in the whole show. I guess it does also slightly shake things up by having the youngest one catch her feelings for Protag-kun before the story starts instead of like 2 to 3 episodes in. And of course the girls who still need to figure their feelings out end up saying, oh, but no, we shouldn't, a lot more often than they would with a typical classmate kissing type harem situation. But that doesn't have any tangible impact on the pace at which they realize their feelings and go through the typical tropes like kissing Protag-kun when he's asleep, but oh no, he wasn't actually, or announcing their crushes to each other and saying, may the best lady win, but,
Oh God, what? Ugh.
but oh no, he was listening actually. And
No.
even though the story has a
Why?
obvious built-in excuse to indefinitely delay him just fucking going for it once he knows those girls are into him, Reiji still feels the need to make him act like a clueless dipshit about it.
God! I can't stop thinking about what happened! Seriously, what was all that about?
I need to ask Oka what that was about. What if she was serious?
Are you stupid? She kissed you on the lips and
While you thought you... she thought you were asleep, and then they're going, right, may the best girl win. Huh. Something tells me they might like me.
told you she wants you while she thought you were unconscious as a byproduct of the effort you spent saving her life. Do you think she was lying to herself? Do you think she was practicing
loud.
for a play? Like, put that thing right in your sister, or so help me, so help me. What's wrong with you?
God.
Bro, were your parents siblings?
Oh, stop it.
Really highlights the blandness of the cast is how hard the show's opening struggles to say anything of substance about any of them while it's introducing them. Like Kotono, the little sister's character introduction, shows her trying on lipstick and standing at a crossroads. Do you get it? Do you get that she's going through puberty? Then Seiha has a lot of books. Not specific books, again, just books. Some of them say philosophy on the spine, so you know she's smart.
Some have science. I see the science one.
Fashionable and works really hard to make dolls for sick kids. That's probably the most personality you're gonna find in any of these. Minami's entire thing is tennis, so her whole shot's just an homage to the classic tennis anime Aim for the Ace, followed by pretty much the only actual animation of Shion in this entire thing, because he is actually genetically her twin brother. A fact that, just by the way, has zero impact on the plot or characters. They barely even talk to each other, let alone about that special connection that they have. Because Shion isn't a real character. He is just there to give
I am so
Arata
confused.
someone
What?
to bounce ideas off that's not one of the girls he's trying to bone. They don't even put him in the end card of the OP, and on the final shot of the family standing
So confusing. What? What?
together, he gets equal billing with the family dog.
Duh.
And he actually gets less screen time than the dog in the little montage at the start of the OP. In striking contrast to him, the OP spends like half its entire frame budget and about 3 times the shot length of all the other waifus on Arata's twin-tailed twin Oka, doing some triathlon shit for her character moment. Like it's not obvious enough who the main girl is already. But the really odd thing about that shot is that Oka is, at best, the 3rd most athletic member of the family. It's not really a significant part of her character, but then neither is anything else besides being a tsundere and secretly wanting to f her brother, so I guess it's as good an image as any to associate with her. It just kind of completely undermines Minami's entire identity in the OP for no real narrative reason. To complement the characters, the vapidness of the plot is reflected in the OP's other big money shot, a sweeping, whirling sequence where the scene constantly blinks between the season's most important moments between each of the sisters and Arata, which looks really damn cool, but also throws into sharp relief just how formulaic and bare bones this story really is. 2 of the 6 scenes involve Arata sticking his neck out for a sister with a busted ankle. 2 of them are set at the same amusement park, and Seiha gets so little character development throughout this season that the sexy rec room twister scene made the cut for this big emotional memories montage. In fact, the story gave Doga Kobo so little to work with, the OP references that scene twice. Compare that to the Mikadono Sisters OP, where every shot tells you something new and interesting about the sisters, their relationship to Protag-kun and each other, their interests, the different ways they react to an iterashai in the morning, how they act on dates. It gets you quickly acquainted with
You can
many
tell their
different
personalities
facets
straight
of
off the
their
bat from just looking at them on these,
personalities and
yeah.
the personalities of various supporting characters who exist around them and have distinct personalities and recurring roles that have nothing to do with who's gonna f Protag-kun when the dust settles. What a crazy thought! But perhaps most importantly, Mikadono Sisters gives all the girls equal screen time and mixes up the order they appear in, so it's not stupidly fucking obvious to anyone with a single solitary brain cell who's gonna f Protag-kun when the dust settles. Not that Doga Kobo could really do anything about that, no matter how they storyboarded the OP, because as soon as anyone saw like 2 seconds of the actual show, they would immediately know. Mysteries are not Reiji Miyajima's forte, though that does not stop him from stringing his audience along with stupid little mystery boxes. At the end of season 1, for instance, right after Arata overhears his sisters declaring love is war on each other, we cut to an enigmatic shot of one of the siblings at some point in the future writing in a diary or something about how none of them were ready for a bombshell revelation.
My God. Of real siblings.
That's right, we're playing incest roulette, baby. Now Arata has a 20% chance of f***ing his sister and an 80% chance of also f***ing his sister, just without producing a genetic abomination. Isn't that thrilling? No. This is blatantly just a plot device designed to take one of the girls out of the running when the harem hits its endgame.
That's so
Either
weird.
Oka as like a cheap last-minute fake-out on all the obvious build-up to her as main girl, or whichever one of the sisters Reiji doesn't feel like writing an actual reason for Arata to reject. But the bigger problem with this twist is it just doesn't make sense at all. Did their dad know there was another pair of real siblings and just not tell them for some reason? If not, how did he not know? Did the adoption agency not tell him? Did they not know?
Yeah, it's just so so strange.
These kids get like split up at birth by some unrelated circumstance and just happen to be adopted by the same billionaire. Every conceivable explanation is stupider than the last. It's honestly kind of impressive how little thought went into this. And let me...
So many whiskeys on his shelves. Sorry, I've seen a Jack Daniels, seen a Johnny Walker Black Label. I saw the big Jack Daniels. Can't remember what it's called.
Tell ya, it only gets dumber from there. For instance, the most recent arc is about Bonri dealing with this abusive boyfriend who's just such a transparent manosphere piece of shit, it's legitimately baffling why she'd put up with it. Until you find out he's blackmailing her with a secret that, if it got out, could destroy their family.
No! Look, it says normal Jack Daniels, and that's Johnny Walker Black Label. That was on a different shelf before, but...
And ruin their father's company forever. And this secret, which is so horrible that she allows this man to lay hands on...
Oh, I can't wait for this. What is it? Come on, Geoff. What's the secret?
...on her and kick children in front of her, is that her family is adopted. Now, admittedly, that would be pretty embarrassing for Elon specifically, as a very publicly birth-rate-obsessed, weird natalist freak. Not the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to him this week, but certainly there would be unfertilized egg on his face. That's kind of it, though. People adopt kids all the time, and not once in the history of humanity has anyone lost their job because it got out their kids were adopted. This is simply not something you can blackmail someone over, and it's really obvious that Reiji just repurposed a scrapped plotline or something from his other manga where the characters actually did have a secret that they could be blackmailed over. And that's the crux of why I'm starting to hate this anime even more than that one. It's just so blatantly an afterthought from Miyajima, the low-effort, bi-weekly side hustle he squeezes in between chapters of the manga his wife lives in. Sure, it doesn't have quite as many bad ideas as Rent a Girlfriend, but that's only because it hardly has any ideas at all. The original thought process behind the story seems to have begun and ended with, I bet an incest harem would make a lot of money, and that's not even a particularly original thought. If we allow hentai into the conversation, which we absolutely should because porn is the crucible of human innovation, then all incest harems have been a dime a dozen for decades now, and most of them don't see out with this adopted stepbro shit. Do you have any idea how many visual novels are about banging your entire family, and how many of those have been turned into a slideshow by Queen Bee or some shit? The only new ground Shiunji family breaks is taking the incest fest down to a 14A level. And credit where it's due, that is quite the forward-thinking business move, with all the new restrictions on online smut sweeping the globe, which may soon usher in a bold new era of softcore ecchi gooner slop for kids who don't have enough facial hair to confidently walk out of a conbini with a nudie mag yet. Also, it's a Trojan horse for an Orwellian digital ID program funded by Peter Thiel. The Kids Online Safety Act, I mean, not this anime. This anime's only purpose is to milk as much money as possible out of the waifu merch market while running bi-weekly ads for that merch in a different magazine from Reiji's main gooner slop, using a mildly spicy twist on the harem formula in hopes of disguising the distinct flavor of "you're watching fucking Love Hina again." That flavor is mighty pungent though, while the spice is as mild as it gets, and I just can't think of a single reason to watch this crap over the dozens of better and more interesting PG harem anime out there, not to mention all that incest hentai. I can't even think of a reason to watch it over Rent a Girlfriend. Like, at least that show has something in it for guys who like cock and ball torture. Rent a Guff may be hell, but the Shiunji family children is purgatory. I'm Geoff, professional harem anime respecter, and I'm gonna go find a show I can actually do that job with. Oh hey, Mikadono Sisters. I already found it. I'm gonna go watch Mikadono Sisters. You should go watch Mikadono Sisters. It's really good.
There we go. We got a recommendation as well at the end of it. So it just seems to be a very lackluster, non-committing harem anime. Seems very strange. They're strange anyway. Like, but always fun to see Geoff kind of rant on something he doesn't like with his comedic little moments. But yeah, that was cool, and thanks for watching.